she doesn't even have time to drive up. She whacks my hips. This is when I bend at the waist and I lock at her waist. You guys see that? Now, from this position, I'm like sitting back on a chair. I start to sit back on a chair and I'm going to take her over the top. My goal defensively, I want to take McKenna's hips towards the same side of her head. All right, if I can do that, I can beat her. So McKenna has a double leg here. I lock my hands. I squat. When I go to take her, notice this is when I win the position. I want to show you guys this first before we get into the offensive wrestler. So if I'm here, I'm going to throw McKenna's hips to the same side of her head. Once I do that, we can kind of square down to the mat and I can get to a front headlock position. This is how I can win. So from here, I lock my hands, I start to lift, I take her hips to the same side of her head. Once we hit, I square my hips down to the mat, I can catch her in a front headlock. I stop her from getting the takedown and I'm causing a scramble. Now I have the advantage on a front headlock. So, that's a barnyard roll. We're going to do the counter to the barnyard roll. So, I hit a double on McKenna. She's going to start to lock around my waist. She starts to sit back. I feel this position instantly. I know if I stand up, she's going to launch me. All right, so if I'm here on a double leg and she's locked, if I start to come up, all right, she's going to really throw my hips over the top. So my goal, she wants my feet and my hips off the mat. I want to keep my feet and my hips really low to the mat. As I do that, she wants my hips to this side. I'm going to run my hips to the opposite side of my head. So I'm here on a double leg. Left hand's going to post. As she starts to squat back, watch my hips. I'm going to run my hips to the opposite side of my head. So here I post my hands so she doesn't take me over. I keep my feet planted and I start running here to this position. All right, you can stay locked. Yep. So right here, I'm on my side. Once we hit, look where we're at. Real simple. I just take my top leg, I hook her legs, and I start to drive up. Here, I drive up into her. There, you can unlock, and I can get the takedown. Does that make sense? All right. I hit a double leg. Once I feel her start to lock around my waist. Once I feel her start to lock around my waist instantly, this is why we drill the technique over and over again. Once I feel her lock, I know she can do this and throw me over the top. I keep my hips low. If she wants my hips that direction, I post, and then I just run my hips really hard to the right. You're going to get to this a lot in freestyle. You'll get to it a lot in folk style. Inside tie collars, I hear a circle. I move McKenna, I hit my double leg. Once I get in, she locks, she starts to sit. Now, partner, if you stand straight up, go ahead and stand straight up, and then lock your hands. Guys, you'll try to run. It's not a good reaction. If she's standing straight up and locks around my waist, all I'm going to do is lock my hands. My elbow will come in on the right, and I can sit her right to her butt and get the takedown. All right, this is when she's posting. She's starting to squat and starting to sit back. Here, I'm feeling the weight going that direction. There, she starts to squat. She's trying to lift me. I run my feet, and I get to here. Now, one last thing here. Make sure I'm about to get the takedown, don't drive up to your knee. If I'm here, if I start to drive up to my knee, notice she already went to it. All right, I didn't even mention this. She already went to my leg. She can go to like a leg pass. All right, she can lock, and then she can roll, and then we get into a scramble position. So make sure, anytime you finish, I go to my hip so my feet are in front of me so she can't catch it. Double leg, here. She locks, posts, I run my feet, to here. I land on my hips so she can't catch my leg. Step over, I hook the leg, then I start to drive up on top. There she breaks the lock, and I get my points. Does that make sense? All right, so partner, different reaction here. You're gonna lock your hands around the waist, and you're gonna start to sit back. All right, I'm not standing straight up or she's just gonna take me to the mat. This is when I start to sit back, I'm taking her that direction. Run your hips to the opposite side of your head. We got it? Any questions? Anyone need to see it again?